We are.
All right. Now,
Where did we leave off? Talking about
We
gravel
have this
soils, a
and-
Blueline.
Petit Verdot. Now,
Oh.
do you do a Bordeaux blend as well?
We will probably add a Bordeaux blend with the 2010 vintage. We did get a little Petit Verdot in 2009, which found its way into the Cab blend. So this is 2% Petit Verdot and 98% Cab Sauv. The Cab Franc that you're drinking right now is 100% Cab Franc, and the Merlot is 96% Merlot, 4% Cabernet in the 2009 vintage. And then in 2010, we will probably add a Bordeaux blend of some kind. We've got all five. Malbec started coming online in 2010. We're considering the possibility of doing a varietal Malbec. Chris and I were talking about the influence of clones on the drive over here. And the Malbec was an interesting learning lesson for us in terms of clonal selections. Our viticulturalist recommended a certain clone and a certain rootstock pairing that he had at other ranches. And he recommended it based on his thought process that it would create a darker fruit profile that would be great as a blending component to Cabernet. So we planted it, we made the wine, and we realized in a hurry that this Malbec was not going to go down the path of the black fruits. It was going to go down the path of the red fruits. Very interesting, completely counterintuitive. And we realized that we had planted this on very sandy, the most gravelly, sandy soils of the Blueline Vineyard. And those sandy soils pushed the flavor profile into the strawberry, raspberry, and kind of cherry side of the spectrum, which is actually quite compelling. It's unlike anything we do there. And it probably will not blend well with Cabernet because I think the Cabernet, being much more kind of broad-shouldered,
Right.
black fruit, will likely dominate the more delicate, nuanced kind of mineral characteristic and red fruit characteristic of Malbec. So with 2010, we may experiment with doing a varietal Malbec, and it would probably be 100. If we do it, it'd be 100% Malbec, and it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Do you think you'd do 100% Petit Verdot?
You know, we played around with that this year. We did a little thing for the winery called 362436. The perfect hourglass shape.
It's actually on the very last sheet at the very bottom. The take notes are on there for what he's talking about.
We did
Oh,
one,
cool.
we did one barrel of it, and it's 86% Petit Verdot and 14% Hourglass Estate Cab, and it's dynamite. It is really terrific. But it is vexing because it has very pronounced aromatics and very pronounced flavor profile, and I've been drinking this over the past 2 years in barrel, and I still have not come up with good descriptors for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's frustrating me. And everybody that I tasted on, I'm like, give me your, tell me what your metaphors are. I need to do the tasting notes on this. And everybody's like, plumeria. I'm like, no, it's not plumeria. It's very floral, but it's not plumeria. It's not that sweet. It's more spicy, and so we've been having fun with that. So we may play around with Petit Verdot as a blending component. Certainly do a Bordeaux blend, and certainly with the Cabernet. I don't think that we'll do a varietal Petit Verdot. It's a category that's just less known.
It is, yeah.
And
I've only had a few in our portfolio.
Yeah.
It was
I think they're probably hard to sell.
And they started going up in price, so they stopped making it because the Petit
they're quite
Verdot itself
expensive.
was becoming the thing for blending and most, higher percentages in wine. So they're seeing the cost go up, so they said,
right, exactly, yeah.
And I have a Spanish one, and that's it.
Yep, they're terrific. They the characteristic for the Petit Verdot that we're growing now at Blueline is black fruit, very, very, very dark, as you would expect. It's often used in weaker vintages in Bordeaux to give color and body and so forth. What was interesting to me is that the Petit Verdot though it is incredibly dense and dark and very saturated, it's still really vibrant because it holds its acid late into the season. And so there's this kind of energy and tingle to the wine, which you wouldn't necessarily expect from something that is that intensely
Right.
dark. And we used it with the Blueline cab to give the cab a little more structure on the edges because of that acidity, and then it also
Okay.
helps lift some of the aromatics as well.
Well, your wines are delicious.
Thank you.
They're really
Thank you.
Yum.
Yeah, we're really having a lot of fun with the Blueline project. It's still a work in progress for us. It's an evolution, and each year we learn a little bit more about how the nuances of this vineyard are coming together. But it's
So what
been-
is, what's your production like, winery-wise?
It's still teeny. So Hourglass Estate will still fluctuate between 500 and 700 cases a year.
Wow, that's it.
The Merlot is like, the 09 Merlot is I think 425 cases. The Cab Franc is 88 cases, and the Cabernet, the Blueline Cab is what, 650, I think. It's on those tasting notes
Okay.
somewhere. I think it's in the 600 range.
Wow.
So all still very small production, and that will remain very small production.
Okay.
So we're just having some fun with it.